Alrighty, so today we're gonna finish up the review of match week number 37, the penultimate match week before we head to decision day. And even though I know we have two more games during the international break, and both of those games are really just makeup games, we pretty much know most of the scenario heading into decision day. And in this video, I'll just look at four out of these five games that are Western Conference matchup, and we know that the Western Conference playoff race is pretty much done. We now know who are the nine team that's moving on, who are the team that is eliminated, and really heading into the final day, the Conference scenarios is just kind of seeding to see who, of course, would get home field advantage in the first round. But with that being said, let us begin with the first game, and I'm actually not going to do timestamp because since I'm only doing five games, I expect this video to be relatively short. But we start off with the first one, which is the Colorado Rapids versus the Seattle Sounders. So as I mentioned before, it feels like Colorado is running out of magic. It's been an incredible year, as I mentioned, about the Rapids under Chris Armes, but man, they have definitely faltered late, and it doesn't help the fact that once again they lose another game at home, which is something that they don't do very often this season at home. Now, early on, not much really happened in the first 10 minutes. Yamar with the game's first shot, but he hits it right to Stefan before Navarro would hit it wide from close range. There was a shout for a handball that was not given for the Rapids, and I thought the game did start to open up a bit. Both of these teams was pushing for the opening goal. Laras that would flash one wide from long range before Abubakar would flick one over from close. Rothrock then curls it wide from long range before Mahavich would put one hopper right to Fry, and then Navarro would flash one wide from long range, as I thought Colorado was trying to get the opening goal up to this point. Rodon, though, on the other end, would puts it wide on the header, and despite there's been some chances for both of these teams, we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. And I will say that this game itself, there was really not much separated between both of these teams. I wouldn't be surprised if this could be a matchup we could see in the playoffs, and could be relatively tight, judging how this game, of course, turned out. But in the second half, Navarro would hit one right to Fry, but then in the 48th minute, Seattle takes the 1-0 lead. It's Albert Rusnak. He's been red hot when it comes to goal scoring. He scored here to make it 1-0 in favor of the Sounders. And yeah, this sequence really came off just from bad turnover from the Rapids. Yeah, you can't do that, especially in a tight contest like this. Calvin Harris did look to respond, but he missed wide there before Maxo would put it wide from long range. I thought it was a good response for the Rapids, but now the problem is, or the question is, can they, of course, finish? I mean, that's kind of the problem so far in this game. Though I thought eventually the Sounders did a good job in terms of riding out the pressure, really killing the momentum the Rapids have had, and things started getting become tight again, and that kind of favorites the Sounders trying to ride out this 1-0 road win. Morris then missed wide on the outstretched leg in the 76th minute. Yeah, that's one that Jordan Morris would want to have back, considering he scored those kind of goals before. That also came over another turnover from the Rapids. Again, turnover was a bit of an issue in this game for Colorado, and they already were made to pay because of it, and almost did it again. Malahavich then hits one right to Fly before Munungu would hits one right to Stefan in the second minute of stoppage time. But yeah, in the end, Seattle just shown that enough clinical finish to get the 1-0 win. I think neither of these teams were really clinical in terms of the finishing, and that kind of shows in terms of the shots, and also kind of tells that this game was a relatively even game. Both teams had 14 shots, 3 shots on goal for the 2 that Seattle has, 5 shots off target for the 8 that the Rapids had, 3 shots on blocked for the 7 that the Sounders had, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to the 45% possession that the Colorado Rapids has. And while Seattle definitely is riding some momentum heading into the playoffs, which probably is not great news for anyone, unless of course they play against LAFC in the Western Conference. For the Rapids, yeah, it's they're started to go on a really tough stretch. It feels like that magic is starting to run out, and it unfortunately runs out in probably the worst possible time, right before we get into the playoffs. I really hope that this team is not a one and done team, because I do think that they have the ability to go deep, and if they can just show what they did in the Leeds Cup, they can of course do so. But yeah, lately they have not been playing relatively well. The defense hasn't been that good, and then on the attacking end, the goal scoring seems to dried up a little bit compared to what we saw during that miracle run that they had all the way into the semifinal. Eventually finished third place in the Leeds Cup. With that being said, moving on into the next game, we got the Galaxy and Austin FC. So coming into this game, Austin was really the last team that is alive when it comes comes to below the red line. And after tonight, they were officially eliminated, and we knew that was the case. I mean, they had just almost an impossible chance to make the playoffs. But I will say this: for Austin, they try to do something similar that they did in the last game. They did try to steal one in this one, but it was not meant to be. Now, in the first half, I just want to say the pyrotechnic, they must have overdone it because the pitch was just completely covered in smoke. I could barely see the pitch for the first couple of minutes, and I know the Galaxy usually, when it comes to their pregame and their national anthem, they always put pyrotechnic. But man, they must have overdone very badly because it was kind of hard to see who was on the pitch at least for the first couple of minutes. But by the time the smoke does clear, Valencia did had the first shot for Austin, but yeah, he puts it high from long range. Not a lot of chances in this one too early on, as the shots were only one apiece 20 minutes into this one. Pooch would then cross it wide from long range in the 20th minute. Before the post, would deny Paintsil from close range. Stuver then denied Peck from close as the Galaxy were starting to put some pressure, and they definitely have woken up and looked to try to get the opening goal. And they do. As in the 31st minute, who else but Gabriel Peck? It's been an incredible season for him, and something tells me he could be the front runner of winning Newcomer of the Year. By the way, they have already released the candidate and the nominees for all the end of the season award, and a lot of people have already mentioned Gabriel Peck could be winning the Newcomer of the Year, and rightfully so. I mean, it's been an incredible signings the Galaxy has had, and I'll definitely mention in the moving forward series down the line that the Galaxy has done a really good job this season when it comes to hitting on all their signing. And yeah, like I said, Gabriel Peck, one of the example of it, gives the Galaxy a 1-0 lead, and then they could have had a second goal if it wasn't for VAR denying them of a penalty, as it was deemed that Valencia did not foul Jovic in the box. I think it was the right call. I don't think there was too much in that, so VAR rightfully reversed that call. Though Jovic himself trying to score a goal in the first minute stoppage time, but he hits one right to Stuvert. And we do head to halftime with the Galaxy leading 1-0. In the second half, Peck puts it wide from long range before Jovic puts it wide from close, and unsurprisingly, the Galaxy kind of picked up where they left off. It looked like this was going to be an easy win for the Galaxy. It looks like they were going to roll their way to an easy win. But if there's one thing you want to know about Austin is that when they give up a lot of chances and play that bend but don't play kind of defense like they have played throughout this game, yeah, that's when they're very dangerous and they strike in an unexpected way. Because guess what happened in the 55th minute? Austin does tie the game up against the run of play, and guess who scored the goal? It's Sebastian Driussi. Yes, he still exists. I mean, I know I mentioned in the moving forward series it's been a disappointing season, and I don't think this goal would change how it's been a rough season for Driussi. Really have not been the same player because of all the injuries that he's been suffering for the past 2 years. But at least he gets on the score sheet here from Bakari and Pereira to give Austin the equalizer. Again, just completely against the run play. And at this point, you're thinking maybe Austin is in for a steal again, just like what they did against the Timbers a couple of days ago. And then Dreyusi then looked for another, but he was denied by McCarthy. Again, all of a sudden, Austin has the momentum. They were looking to steal this one and trying to keep their slim playoff hope alive because of it. Bakari then missed wide from long range before Pooch would puts one right, or no, I'm sorry. Ring hits this one right to McCarthy. I thought that was Puja. It's kind of embarrassing that I couldn't even read my handwriting there. But that being said, in the 76th minute, and really on the back of sustained pressure, the Galaxy themselves score against the run of play. So again, if there's one thing about Austin is that they can score kind of out of nowhere, but they seems to struggle when they do put on sustained pressure. And when they are getting the chances and started to what they're expecting to see go a little higher, that's when it's kind of bad news for Los Verdes because they usually don't do well when that happens. And in the 76th minute, really kind of against the run of play for the Galaxy themselves, Jovic would score from Puig and Bergman to make it 2-1 in favor of the Galaxy. Really just a great build-up there from the Galaxy, and even a better goal there from Dejan Jovic showing his clinical finishing. Paintil then looked for another, but he puts this one over. The goal, I thought, also seems like it deflated Austin because they really lost all the momentum that they had ever since getting the equalizer. Though, as I said that, Rubio would head it wide from close in the fourth minute before McCarthy would deny Driussi from long range. And I said, I take that back what I said about how Austin then seems like they deflated. They were pressing hard to try to get the equalizer. The Galaxy was kind of hanging on a little bit late in this one. And indeed, in the 7th minute stoppage time, it looked like they got paid for it because John Gallagher put the ball into the back net Problem was the flag was already up, so yeah, the Galaxy got lucky there. The flag bailed them out because of offside. Wolf then puts one wide from long range in the 10th minute stoppage time, and then all hell broke loose in the 12th minute stoppage time. So yeah, again, Austin probably knowing that they're not going to make it out of the playoffs, they kind of took that frustration out. It was physical at times in this game as well. And here, Guillermo Barrow basically took the frustration out on a reckless challenge on Puig, and not only he put a reckless challenge on Puig, but he did it right in front of the Galaxy bench. Yeah, that's gonna draw attention, and it's no surprise that the Galaxy bench, as soon as that reckless challenge happened, all the Galaxy players on the bench were on their feet, and that's when the pushing and shoving really started. It was a pretty ugly scene late in this game. But in the end, the Galaxy does win 2-1 in this one against Austin. Shots in this one, 15 shots within 19 that Austin had, 5 shots on goal for the 4 that the Galaxy had, 8 shots off target for the 6 that Austin had, 7 shots that was blocked for the 2 that the Galaxy had, and possession-wise, 50% for both of these teams. And while it was not a pretty result for the Galaxy, they'll take it. It's another home win. They remain perfect at home this season. And again, really, the road to MLS Cup out of the West seems like it's going to come through Dignity Health Sports Park. But for Austin, as I said, they're officially eliminated from the playoffs. And as I also mentioned in the moving forward series, this is the last game that Josh Wolf coached for Los Verdes as he officially being fired. And we'll see how they're going to do in the offseason. And I already mentioned in the moving forward series episode, it feels like maybe they're going to have to go for a rebuild, maybe even a retool heading into this season to establish their identity in the future. Now, moving on in terms of the next match, you know which team that needs to do a rebuild and refresh their identity? Well, that of course is the San Jose Earthquakes. So yeah, the Quakes they have one more game to avoid tying the worst ever points total that they had in 2018, and I thought this was a chance that they can at least avoid that. You know, they have RSL number lately, but unfortunately, I feel like they were all thinking about Cancun in this game, and for RSL, despite the fact that they play well at least for most part of this game. The one thing that elude them in this one is finishing, and I would also say that I say that they play well, but it still doesn't look very convincing. And in some way, this looked like it was going to be a very frustrating 0-0 draw for RSL in this game. In the first half, Luna with the game's first shot, but his shot was tipped over by Daniel before Daniel denied Marichik. But then he gave up a rebound, which Katanas had a chance to bury this one, but he puts one into the stands. No doubt RSL was on the front foot. They were pressing to try to get the early lead. And then the first shot for the Quakes did see Lopez puts it wide from close range. And really, besides that early RSL pressure, I didn't think there was really much chances that was created. As again, the Quakes they were in Cancun mode. They don't really care about how this game turns out or how the next game turns out. And Real Salt Lake they just can't seems to get things going after a fast start in this one. Something similar to what we saw in the last game when they play against the Quakes, where they were struggling to create chances. But we do head to halftime with the score scoreless between both of these teams, unsurprisingly, because it was a relatively boring first half. Things those picked up in the second half, and in fact, it looked like they got the opening goal, RSL, when Chicho Arango puts it into the back of net. Problem was the flag came up for offside, and it was pretty obvious that it was offside. So yeah, Chicho still snake bit coming out of this game. Also didn't get on the score sheet as well. Rodriguez then heads it wide on the doorstep of goal before Daniel denied Arango from close range, and then the post would deny Marechik from close as RSL once again with some sustained pressure. But again, the finishing just elude them. The lack of finishing, they just could not get anything going. And again, it seems like it's affecting this game and also the last couple of games as well. Chicho Arango then hits it right to Daniel in the 75th minute before Ojeda would hits it right to Daniel in the 76th minute. And both the Quakes were playing for a 0-0 draw. It looked like they were just going to maybe hold on to try to avoid the worst points total in club history. It does not work out because in the 78th minute, guess who? It's Diego Luna. Of course, Diego Luna scores against the Quakes. Of course, it's so classic when you have a former well, I wouldn't say Diego Luna ever played for the San Jose Earthquakes, but he was with the Quakes Academy. And again, the Quakes Academy, it's a great academy, but the Quakes are completely mismanaging it in terms of promoting in the first team. And this is another right talent that was let go of the Quakes that the Quakes, I'm pretty sure, are dearly regret that, and it's also fitting that they will score again. His team that he used to be with the academy. But yeah, he scored here from Ojeda and Gonzalez to make it 1-0 in favor of RSL, and it was a banger and a half. So again, with all these missed chances that Real Salt Lake had in this game, it's kind of ironic the fact that they score or in one of the more difficult chances, but they'll take it. They lead 1-0 up to this point. Rongo then looked for another, but he missed wide there because Rongo just he has no luck right now. I mean, this has been probably the roughest patch that FC Chicho Rongo has gone through, and as I mentioned, ever since that suspension that he served, he has just not looked like the same player. I don't know what happened during that point where you just haven't been the same player because the goals are just kind of hard to come by for Chicho Arango lately. Pellegrino then puts it wide from long range before Morales did puts it wide from long range, and yeah, to be fair, the Quakes they were trying to push to get the equalizer. I thought they were just gonna lie down in this one, and RSL again trying to hold on for a much needed win in this one. Jude then hits one right to McMath, and yeah, in the end, RSL does hold on to win 1-0 in this one. The shots in this one, 14 shots compared to just 5 that the Quakes had, and pretty much 3 of the last 5 shots that they had in this game came in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, they were stuck on free shot for a very long time. One shot on goal for the 6 that RSL had. Both teams had 4 shots off target. 3 shots that was blocked for the none that the Quakes had, and possession wise, 56% possession compared to 44% possession the Quakes has in this game. So again, for RSL, it was not a convincing win. This is not going to be a result that I think you could safe to say that they're clearly back and they're backed into to be a contender in the Western Conference. But hey, at least they got a win to get some confidence. Confidence hasn't been very high in this Real Salt Lake team with the resort that has kind of gone against them ever since the Leeds Cup, and we'll see whether or not if this can use as a momentum booster heading into the decision day game, because again you do not want to head into the playoff cold. The last thing you want if you're a team heading into the playoffs is to go for a bad run, because more times or not when you do that and you're faced against a hot team in the playoffs, yeah, it's a one and done kind of situation for the team that is heading into the playoffs in a bad run of form. With that being said, I am now going to change sports and look at the Sunday game that happened in this penultimate match week of the 2024 MLS regular season. So now looking at the Sunday game, and I probably could have done the review of this game right after I got off the flight because I got back home around 9:30, and even though it's relatively late, there's only like 2 Sunday game for me to review. I probably would have had enough time to write the board, do the review, and then go to bed to go back to work after my long vacation. But alas, we're gonna do the Sunday review right now, and we start off in this game between NYCFC versus Nashville. So it looked like this game early on it was gonna be a laughter. It looks like Nashville was going to be eliminated in a very humiliating fashion. But to Nashville credit, they did show some fight in this one, but in some way they probably should have got something out of this game. I mean, the finishing in this game was absolutely woeful for Nashville SC. But whose finishing wasn't woeful? It was NYCFC. By the way, this is the third straight game for NYCFC at Red Bull Arena. They must have enjoyed Red Bull Arena this season because they have played probably some of the best soccer this season at Red Bull Arena. And I know obviously this is not going to be a thing that they'll have to worry about basically being roommates to their rival stadium. But I'm pretty sure NYCFC would really want to play at Red Bull Arena pretty much for most of the game. And there could be a chance that they could, because with the Yankees being in the playoffs, and the same thing with the Mets being in the playoffs as well, there could be a chance where they would be hosting playoff game at Red Bull Arena. And as embarrassing as that sound is, I'm pretty sure NYCFC wouldn't care because they've been playing very well here, and it helps when they score 17 seconds into this game. And unfortunately, it's not Alonso Martinez that scored. I mean, if Alonso Martinez scored in this game, I mean, I gotta say it's crazy that is the case, because it feels like more time than not he is the one that scores the early goal. But instead, it's Santi Rodriguez, the one that scores the early goal just 17 seconds into this game to give NYCFC a 1-0 lead. Hack then looked for another, but he puts it just over. And for a team that was playing for their playoff hopes, and even though it's a slim playoff hope, this is not the start that Nashville wanted. I mean, they were all over the place early in this one. Mukhtar would then puts it over from close before Wolf would puts it over from close as well in the 13th minute. The shots were already 4-1 for NYCFC early in this point, and then the post would deny Alex Mule from close in the 17th minute before in the 18th minute NYCFC doubled the lead. And it's Santi Rodriguez again. He scored here from Wolf to make it 2-0 in favor of NYCFC. Not long after, Alonso Martinez would get on the score sheet to make it 3-0 in favor of NYCFC. Safe to say that NYCFC has enjoyed playing at their rival stadium and call it home because ever since these last three games where they play at Red Bull Arena, it's hard to believe that even though they have played that one road game against the Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena. You might as well just kind of call this a home game because the last two times they've been designated a home team and they have outscored their opponent 11-1 since that. Actually, that is not true. It's actually 11-2. I forgot. The Red Bulls actually score a goal in that 5-1 win. So let me just make that. Hey, sure, 11-2. Still very impressive. The fact that they have outscored their opponent 11-2 in the last three times when they play a game at Red Bull Arena. But there was no doubt that Nashville was staring down elimination, and it could be in a humiliation way with the way that this game could get ugly with the way NYCFC got things going. Now, obviously, that didn't turn out. That's when Nashville started to really put some pressure again. Zimmerman would heads it over in the 29th minute before Surridge would look to respond, but he puts this one over. Schaffelberg then puts it high from long range, and then he went round the keeper. He went round Freeze there trying to hit it into the empty net, but that shot was blocked off the line. And again, Nashville, to their credit, even though they're 3-0 down, if it could have easily just lied down and say see you next season, they were still pushing hard to trying to get a goal back. They were trying to press for one back as well. But we do head to halftime with NYCFC with a commanding 3-0 lead. Now in the second half, it was pretty much the same. Nashville continued to put pressure, but before that, they almost fell asleep in the first minute of this second half as well as Packwood puts it over from long range just 30 seconds in. Can you imagine if Nashville actually conceded a goal not only 17 seconds in, but also 30 seconds into the second half? I mean, BJ Callahan would be absolutely livid because of that. Zimmerman would then heads it wide from close in the 52nd minute before Mukhtar thought that he gave Nashville a goal back in this one. Unfortunately, the flag came up as the goal, of course, was disallowed for offside. But like I said, Nashville, they picked up where they left off. They were pushing hard to try to at least get one back to start this miracle comeback to keep their Flames playoff hope alive. And they do get it in the 58th minute as Hani Mukhtar, just 5 minutes after getting denied of a goal because of the flag, this time he makes sure he gets on the score sheet. He scored here from Schaffelberg to make it 3-1 in this one. Safe to say that Hani Mukhtar has kind of started to look a little bit of his old self. He started to play a little bit better in the last couple of games, but again, just way too late now with the way that Nashville seems like that they're not going to make it to the playoffs, and also it's pretty much confirmed after this game as well. But Freeze then denies Shackelford from long range. NYCFC really have put their foot off the gas. They have pretty much just almost cruised their way for the rest of this game after went up 3-0. And I know that's easy to do when you go up 3-0 so early in the game, but you got to be careful because we've seen big leads that has given up, especially the 3-0 dreaded lead. We saw it twice this season where it's been given up. In the 70th minute, Freeze would then deny Zimmerman, but then it falls right to Jack McNamara, and he had an empty net to shoot, but somehow in some way Freeze with some cat-like reflexes to get himself up and rob him there. But still, it falls right to Walker Zimmerman, and yeah, Zimmerman, all he had to do was basically put this one on target. Like, he doesn't even need to put any pace to, he can just kind of tapped it into the empty net. Instead, he went for pace, and he got it all wrong. I mean, that is one that again just kind of sums up the season for Nashville and also Zimmerman finishing ability lately. Walker Zimmerman has been completely snake bitten in the last couple of games, not maybe even this season as well. He has just not have any luck in terms of that. And I know he's not a guy that is known to score with his feet. He's more of an aerial duel, but from that range, I mean that's just again just to kind of throw that classic cliche. He missed from that range than actually scoring it, and kind of he almost had a Ramel Kyoto kind of moment in that as well. And for some of the newer people watching my channel, don't get that Ramel Kyoto reference. This is back when a couple of years when Ramel Kyoto literally missed an empty net from like 1 yard out and basically hits it wide. But in the 81st minute, Freeze would deny Mukhtar, but it falls to Perez, and himself had an empty net to shoot, but he just missed that one. And I mean, it just looked like it's not going to happen for Nashville. I mean, yes, they got that one goal back, but it feels like their finishing ability kind of rivals what the Red Bulls are doing. And yes, I'm sorry, Red Bulls fan, that I have to throw shades of that, but you knew that was happening, especially when this game is taking place at Red Bull Arena and how bad the Red Bulls have finished. And it feels like Nashville is getting that disease in this game. They just couldn't finish whatsoever. Rodriguez then curls one right to Willis. It was a rare chance for NYCFC before Perez missed the wide from long range. As in the end, NYCFC they get the 3-1 win in this one. Really kind of cruise their way after getting the 3-0 lead to finish this game up. The shots in this one, 11 shots for the 22 that Nashville has. So yeah, Nashville double the amount of shots. Problem is, they only had 5 shots on goal compared to 4 that NYCFC had. 8 shots off target for the 4 that NYCFC had. 3 shots that was blocked for the 8 that Nashville has, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that NYCFC has in this game. And also, as I mentioned, with this loss, Nashville was officially eliminated from the playoffs. So I'll be doing a moving forward series episode about them in bed, and there's definitely going to be a lot of question about this team as well, and especially yeah, ever since BJ Callahan has stepped into this team, he hasn't really kind of improved this team too a bit. I mean, part of that is because this is still a very Gary Smith kind of a team, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of moves he'll make in the offseason to put his philosophy on this team. But yeah, there's no doubt that it's going to be an interesting offseason for this Nashville team. It was a very frustrating season as well. A team that maybe had some aspiration of making the playoffs, but it seems like the tactics that Nashville has been using ever since they came into the league of being a good defensive team and take advantage of set piece and counter attack. They work that so well to a point where it's kind of unfortunate that they never really kind of evolve their plan. And we've seen before, when you don't evolve your plan, yeah, teams are gonna find out. And I'm pretty sure teams have really found out how to play this Nashville team, and also not to mention the talent wise, it started to decrease in these past year or two compared to what we saw when Nashville broke into the league. That being said, moving on into the next match, we got the Portland Timbers versus FC Dallas, and another team that is struggling to put the ball into the back end net and they're finishing. It's the Portland Timbers. I mean, there's got to be some concern if you're a Timbers fan. The fact that the last game, yes, it's very frustrating that you couldn't finish against Austin, and you just kind of feel like it's just one of those games. But now it's 2 games in a row, and when you have that kind of thing where you couldn't finish 2 games in a row, then that's when alarm bells really start to ring. Again, this if there is a time you go through a goal drought, and if there's a worse time to do it, it's right now. You do not want to go through a goal drought right now if you're the Portland Timbers, especially you're so close in terms of getting into playoffs and potentially have to play in the play-in round because of dropping points in back-to-back home games. Now, in the first half, Velasco would puts it wide on the free kick before Moreno hits it right to Maurer. It was a very open game to start this one, as both of these teams were going very end to end. By the way, I say the Timbers were not good in terms of finishing. Dallas, they had their moments in this game as well, and in many ways, this game is kind of one of those typical 0-0 draw that it was just a game where neither of these teams just could finish. By the way, the Maurer shot that denied Mora, and then on the follow up, Evander hits one right to Mount. That actually came off a WTF turnover from Dallas, and they really got away with that one too as a result. But the shots were 4-1 for the Timbers early in this one. Evander would puts a dangerous cross that goes by everyone before Mascara would puts it wide from close. Then Marino would put it wide from long range, and again Portland is not on the door. But the problem is, just like the last game, the clinical finishing was missing in this one as well. And again, when you have these kind of moments where you're going for a goal drought, and no matter how many chances you put and you don't finish, the goal scorer is it's become a little smaller for these Timbers attack right now. But in the 20th minute, Kumungo would hit one right to Pantemis before Mascara almost scored an own goal there, and Pantemis had to do something to push that one away. Otherwise, that would have been 1-0 in favor of Dallas. Ibiaga then hits it wide from close. All of a sudden, I thought Dallas started to look friend. I mean, they did absorb some pressure, but now they started to look to try to get the opening goal. But as I said that, Evander would miss wide as the flag went up, and then he missed wide again, this time from long range just 6 minutes later. And you can also start to sense the frustration and the lack of finishing in the last game for the Timbers. Like, again, it's one thing to have one of those games where nothing goes right, but if you have 2 of those games back to back, the frustration can really start to carry over, and you can see these Timbers players. They it's almost like they're just completely snake bitten the fact that they can't put the ball into the back of net no matter how good of a chance they create. Mara then denied Evander, and then on the rebound, Moreno did looked to go on his bike to score a spectacular goal, but that one missed wide. The shots were 10-3 for Portland up to this point. Still no goal, unfortunately. And then Moreno would put it wide from long range, and we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Mora would pulls it wide from long range before Leggett would hit one right to Pentemis. Both of these teams once again exchange chances, but the question is who can get the opener? Spoiler alert, nobody. Shout for a penalty for Dallas that was not given. Pentemis would then deny fair turn on a 1v1 opportunity, and then Farrington had a free kick shot that was deflected and goes wide, and then he denied Aramonde from close range. And again, Dallas, every time it feels like you're thinking Portland was gonna start to create some sustained pressure, Dallas themselves started to create some sustained pressure. And in many ways, I feel like this was one of those games where the momentum kind of swing back and forth. There's like one part where the momentum is with one team, they have the sustained pressure, and then all of a sudden the momentum swing right back to the other team that has some sustained pressure. Pantemis then denied Kamungo from close before Rodriguez on the other end had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. Evander then hits one right to Maurer, and really as the time winds down, this game is still up for grabs. But the question is, who can show that clinical finishing that was clearly lacking between both of these teams? Rodriguez then puts one into the stands in the 81st minute before Maurer absolutely robbed Mora on a looping volley there. I mean, that one looks like it was destined to go into the back of net. I mean, Timber Army would have absolutely erupted. Didn't happen. And then in the second minute of stoppage time, it looked like we did get the opening goal in the second minute of stoppage time when Ariola puts the ball into the back of net. Problem was the goal was disallowed for offside, and that was the closest we came to see the ball hitting the back of the net. As in the end, it ends in a scoreless draw in this game. The shots in this one, a lot of shots. 20 shots for the 18 that Dallas had. 8 shots on goal compared to 6 that Dallas had. 3 shots off target compared to 9 that the Timbers had. 4 shots on the ball compared to 9 that Dallas had. And possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession the Timbers has in this game. But at the end of the day, it's a very frustrating resort for both teams. Well, I don't think it's a frustrating resort for Dallas because they have nothing to play for. A win in this game doesn't really change anything. They still are eliminated after last week. But for the Portland Timbers, this has got to be concerned. The fact that they're going through this goal drought, and that especially coming into this week, there was a chance where it could set up perfectly for them with these two home game, and especially two teams that are pretty much already on the verge of getting eliminated, and they only got 1 point out of that. Yeah, there's got to be a lot of concern if you're a Timbers fan, and after how well they play a couple of weeks ago, that's how things can change. Where if you're heading to the playoffs and you don't go on a good run of form, as is the case with the Timbers struggling to score goals, yeah, they got to sort that out. In many ways, I feel like heading into decision day, even though I know they clinched the playoffs, you kind of sense that game they have to win or at least score a goal, because if they don't score in that game, oh boy, that could be very concerning, especially heading into the potential wild card round, especially if it's on the road as well. I mean, I don't know who they're going to be facing in the wild card round. Most likely it could still be Minnesota, which that's not really a favorable matchup for the Timbers to go on the road to face against Minnesota, considering Minnesota has had a really good record against Portland at Allianz Field. But yeah, there's no doubt that if you're the Timbers, there's got to be some concern. The lack of finishing, and it's really come at the worst time possible, just before when the playoffs begin. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of review of all of these game in the penultimate match week of match week number 37. Of course, we got two more games that's going to be happening during the international break. But after that, it's Decision Day 2024 when it comes to the 2024 MLS regular season. There's no doubt I'm going to be making some video related to that. Obviously, I'll be making some moving forward series as well because with the international break, that at least gives me some time to do these moving forward series episode. Basically, like talk about these teams that have eliminated and what they can do to make sure they don't miss out on the playoffs next season. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.